You sound good. Beautiful.
You want to take a quick look at this?
Yeah, turn it around, please.
Hey, mic check, mic check.
Mic check. My mic sounds right.
My mic sound right, 1, 2.
Oh, looks good. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. This is a wide shot. I'm not crazy about that wide shot, but yeah.
1, 2, 1, 2.
And I'll lean back on the wide shot so that Miss Monica can be seen.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Can you hear Stanley?
Huh?
Can you hear Amelia sit down far away from the mic?
Oh no, she's fine.
I project, so.
Yeah, she's fine.
What about your mic check?
Mic check, mic check.
Actually, I would like to add a little EQ on there, but I'm not going
Got yours?
to do that.
For Dr. Sanchez?
Mic check of everyone. Dr.
Amelia?
Sanchez, can you talk?
So, just to let you know,
Mic check, mic check. You got me?
Hold on. Keep talking. Is that your normal voice?
I know.
Talk.
yeah, that's her normal voice.
Yeah,
So
that's
what did
my-
you have for breakfast this morning?
I had, actually, I had an African breakfast about 12 o'clock, some leftover curry and roti. Good curry.
Oh, that's good. All right, sir, can you speak, please?
Mark?
How you doing?
Beautiful. There you go. Nice. Everybody sounds good. Everybody's looking good. Final shot.
Amelia, you
Yes.
cannot move, otherwise you're gonna.
Is she a little?
She's
oh,
gonna
she a
be
little
out
soft?
of the scene. You have to stay like that, not like this, a little bit like that, so we can see both of you. Okay?
Can you see me now? Can you see her?
Can you see me now? Yes, I can.
I will not. Do
Yes,
Can
I
I
can.
see shot 2, please? Camera 2, please, Stanley?
It's here. You have to look here. We can't.
I am looking at the monitor, I just don't see it.
Let me get out the way.
Okay, I got it. All right.
Yeah.
And here's yours.
Like that is fine, so we can see
That's
both
3,
of you.
That's 1.
And that's yours.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty
camera
good.
2, but I don't want him in 2.
No, this is one.
Yeah, I want him in 2.
Yeah, he's in there.
See, wait a minute. Something got messed up. There's
Camera 2 is 3 of you.
right.
Boom.
Camera
Camera 1
one
is only
should
you.
be- No, camera 1 should be her and I, but I just do the intro of me.
Then somebody
Oh,
gotta
okay.
go over there and do a zoom in
Oh,
the camera after
I thought
start.
I was having the two of you.
That's my backup, just
Okay.
in case, because sometimes the
Okay.
black magic
Oh, I'm
don't
just the backup.
record
Okay, I'll be quiet.
correctly.
I'm the
So
backup.
I'm going to intertwine it.
So you want a 2-shot on this? Okay.
Yes, please. A 2-shot on the robotic
I'm
camera
just-
on number
I'm
1.
just-
Later
zoom it
on,
out.
you're gonna have to change.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, what?
No, she's gonna keep it on the 2, right?
No, I'm doing the intro first for
Okay.
different views, one voice, and then I want to go to a 2-shot so that Dr. Monica and I are
Okay.
talking.
Okay,
Just
got
stay
it.
here and do that intro.
This camera cannot pick her because all this microphone is in front of her.
So should I move over?
No, but if I,
Her camera is can pick it up, both of you, but not this one.
So when she do her intro by herself, then you want me to lean over a little bit like this
You could.
after she's finished? And I could do that.
Like this? Look the monitor, Amelia.
No, you could pan a little bit more. Yeah.
Yeah, just a little bit more, less space on this side. There you go,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah. that
As
works.
a matter of fact, you know what we can do? We can just leave it at that, and I'll just do the intro
But
and
if
let her
I-
be seen.
I could come up like this.
No.
No. Stay where you are. I can just in the post-production, I can just enlarge that,
Beautiful.
okay?
Sound compliant. Are we good here?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay,
So,
so and
I'm not
after you do
interrupting.
introduction with her, and you wanna only on you. So you can.
No, stay
No,
like this.
can you do just me? Can you do just me, and then we go to this shot?
And you can change because I'm gonna leave as soon you start the show.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Is that a robotic camera? Can we?
No, it's a manual. It's a manual.
It's
Okay.
It's a
manual.
manual camera.
All right. So, then script. Let's just leave it the way it is.
Okay.
You can do it. You can do what you said in post.
Yeah.
That's what you just said.
Exactly.
Okay, do you like the shot?
Yes, I do. Thank you very much.
Not too much head?
No, that's fine.
That's fine?
That's fine.
Okay. All right.
And then that's all 3 of us, and I'll just lean back when we get to it. So, Mark, just to let you know, I'm going to do most of the interview. But when we get to I'm gonna talk about, the various things that she does. And we're gonna leave, when I get into collaborations, that's when we're gonna introduce the
Your
March
phone is off, too?
21st and bring you in talking about collaborative effort, collaborative
I hear
economics, the union of you two, the new position that you have, and then just, we'll go from there. Sounds like a plan? Okay. All right.
Everybody ready? Yes.
And we have,
Good.
56 minutes on the clock.
56.
Okay.
Thank you, Eddie.
And family, if you can just give me a 5-minute warning
Got you.
before we start, that'd be great.
56. Beautiful.
And then
Everybody,
we-
everybody ready?
You good?
Hold
Good,
on.
baby.
Yes, we're
Okay,
ready.
have a good
Hold on.
show.
Thank you, my
Thanks.
love. Okay. I did want the teleprompter, but there's no teleprompter.
There's no talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just gonna read it this way.
You have to go old school. Cue cards.
I know. I'm just gonna go old school this way.
Old, new school. Good. Ready?
Okay, ready.
Everybody ready?
Ready?
In 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to another edition, another episode of Different Views, One Voice. I am the host. One more time. Sorry.
You want to count?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3.
Welcome to another episode of Different Views, One Voice. I'm your host, Amelia Ismore, and it is such a special episode we have today in honor of Women's History Month. Our guest is probably one of the most phenomenal women I have ever met. So before I get into her, I want to give you a little bit of background of how phenomenal this woman is. Dr. Monica Sanchez is a distinguished ambassador, author, life coach, and founder of the Miss CARICOM International Foundation, CIP Inc., and dean of UNESCO Institute for Fashion Education that teaches life skill programs. Her life's journey is a testament to resilience, overcoming formidable challenges from a young age to becoming a globally recognized advocate for women's rights. A love of my own, you know that. Human rights and social justice on the United Nations accredited NGO MCIF platform. Dr. Monica Sanchez stands as a beacon of hope and inspiration for many around the world. Her journey from a challenging upbringing to becoming a formidable advocate for change underscores the impact one individual can have in breaking the glass ceiling and empowering others through her diverse roles. She continues to uplift women and girls, advocating for their rights and fostering a more equitable society globally. Welcome, Dr. Monica Sanchez.
Oh my goodness, who are you talking about?
You, darling, you. You know, it's so wonderful. Like when I first met you, shout out to Verona Ford, because she was like, I want you to come to this event. I want you to meet her. Because
She's my
advocacy
girl.
advocacy is what I'm about. And just your whole presence, your aura, your community, and people that were supporting you. I was like, wow, I really need to interview this woman. So welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on Different Views, One Voice. I want to start from the beginning, because a lot of people, you know, they don't understand the true journey. You're so humble that unless you go in and start delving into who you are and how you began, you're like, wow. You know, I always talk about the journey from the block to the boardroom. You've done that and so much more. So, starting from the beginning, because after reading your bio, your accomplishments are even more magnificent. Can you give us a little 411 of what that beginning was and what inspired you to keep on pushing on and overcoming challenges?
Well. Happy Women's Month. Every month should be a Women's Month. But anyway, it's wonderful that you're doing this interview in March. This means so much to me because, as you know, my advocacy is gender power. I was fortunate or unfortunate to be born into a mixed family, a mixed race family of two young people that were too young to have a baby. And so that journey was very educational for me it wasn't an easy journey. It was very traumatic, and I wrote my book about that. But during that time frame, I noticed that education, knowing, being knowledgeable about something was the way to go. Because if you knew about something, then you can help somebody else. And if you help somebody else, then that was a plus to you. So I started trying to know about everything. And in order to know, you got to be educated. So that was the beginning of my education. I would read everything. I wanted all the knowledge one time.
You know, it's so wonderful that you focus on education, because I feel like right now that's something that is not really being pushed, especially collegiate. You know, there are so many successful people due to technology, but there's still a level of education and social experience that college does present. And I know that your school, your institute, actually encourages education. Was that because of your beginning years that made you get into fostering and being a dean of an institute for fashion education?
Yes, and I want to explain that a little bit, because it's not just any school. It's a commission under UNESCO, and it teaches life skills. So what it does, it teaches you what you already know. Life skills. Life skills is like hairdressing, cooking, designing, baking cakes, making hats, things that you already know how to do. And what I found out in this journey is that a lot of people were expert at what they know to do, which are these life skills, but yet still they were not acknowledged, they were not recognized, they were not empowered. It seems that we exist in a society that requires a piece of paper, a certification, to qualify to do something. So UNESCO Institute of Fashion Education, what it does, it recruits people that already know how to do something and teach them how to professionally present that thing to make money so they can support themselves. And we give them a certificate because a lot of the people that we have graduated are not high school graduates. And so it's really, really my biggest accomplishment, and something I'm so proud of, because we have graduated over 250,000
I love that. Say that again. 250 what?
thousand.
You know, and a lot to be said about the purpose of life. You know, in reading and doing more research on you, what I loved about the school was that it actually helps people that are not understanding their purpose to cultivate that, and then encourage them on the entrepreneurial side to actually be able to support themselves and their family. And what was really beautiful about what I was reading was that it's not just the United States, it's the Caribbean and Africa. Why were those countries important to you as well?
It was important because my own beginnings, which is in the Caribbean, I was a country girl. I spent the beginning of my early childhood in the country. And my grandfather, who had a second grade education, was a master tailor. And so I realized at that early age, of course I went to designer school and I got certified and all that stuff. But I started out taking his fabric and trying to make doll clothes, which I got a severe beating for. So I knew that a lot of people in the Caribbean, country folks, and also I traveled extensively, and Africa was, the majority of my travel was to Africa, 68 countries worldwide. And I saw a lot of the same communities, the same kind of people, the same kind of issues. And so I dived right in. I was like, this is my playground. This is where I am going to make my mark. I'm going to help people just like my grandfather.
There's a lot to be said about how the seed doesn't fall far from the tree. I always love to expound on how your upbringing and the influences and the things you're exposed to as a young age actually influences your direction when you get older. But I want to continue. I said you mentioned that you traveled to 69 countries, forging connections with leaders with over 27 years of on-the-ground work experience. Share with us some of your success stories and why you continue to do what you do, because it's remarkable. You haven't stopped.
No, I haven't stopped. And you know, it's so amazing that I'm here, and I look back, and I didn't plan this. It grew on its own. One good deed or one I don't know, successful plan, one thing at a time led to another. On this journey, my focus is to help. And so every time I help a community, a person, an organization, the next thing I know, I'm being recommended to help other people. I have references. And so one thing would lead to the next. Here I am, I'm starting on mental health. Next thing you know, I am in food insecurities. Then I'm on education. Then I am on business planning. You know, one thing, someone would say, oh, well, can you join with us and do this? Or can you help us or show us a way? And me, I believe in jumping in with both feet.
I mirror that image. I mirror that mindset. And a lot to be said about the SDG, like what the UN is about. You know, they are really proponing the different elements for humanity to be humane to humanity, you know, and really stop some of the greed and atrocities that are happening globally just by simple things of helping. But that leads to my next question, because a lot of people talk about helping, but then unfortunately they get drained from the help. How do you balance the help with also entrepreneurialism? Because a lot of people like to use help as a catalyst to not pay. And you can't, it's a hobby at that point if you're not fostering, you know, business.
Yes, because they say, oh, charity is. But you can't do anything without money. And so this is the reason for UNESCO Institute of Fashion Education. This is the reason for us trying to educate people so that they can actually feed their families. You must have a job. You must be able to bring in income. The United Nations have something that's called the 17 Goals. And the 17 Goals basically is a blueprint for humanity. And they have a deadline of 2030 to accomplish these 17 goals so the world would be a better place. Some of these goals are education, hunger, homelessness, environmental, a lot of different things. But you can't do anything if you're hungry, and if you're hungry, you won't be healthy. So in order to start the process, you need income. You need not to be hungry. In order not to be hungry, you need to have income. You need to have a career, a job. You need to be able to work to sustain yourself and your family. So education is one of the ways to go to accomplish this. So education stands at the forefront of these 17 goals. And so that's what pushes me. And I'll tell you a little story. In Nigeria, where we've graduated most of our students, the local banks took an interest into what we're doing, and we're excited about it. And 25% of those graduates got what is a startup grant to start their own little business. Isn't that an
That's
amazing
fantastic.
thing?
Well, we need to do an applause on that. You know, and there's a lot to be said about working with marginalized people. You know, when I was doing a lot of outreach, I always told the kids there's no such thing as can't. You just have to learn how. Because anything and everything is possible once you put your mind to it and the effort to match that mindset. Which leads me to the next question. You have an international peace program. What prompted you to initiate that program, and what is the focus, and how can people watching help you increase the peace? Because there's a need for it nowadays.
Yes, well, volunteer. You know, there are thousands of organizations like mine out there. And I said, doesn't matter which one you attach yourself to, just attach yourself to one. We are Miss Caricom International Foundation. We're accredited and we're based basically at the UN, we have programs that we have to follow criteria. But, you know, money is everything. So we're looking for volunteers, we're looking for, you know, sponsors, we're looking for donations. This is how we're able to carry on our work. As a matter of fact, the book that I wrote, Child of a Child,
Yes.
The proceeds of that book, we use it to fund some of our programs. So basically, we're depending on the general public to be supported in more ways than one, through volunteerism, through sponsorship, donation, and engaging in what we do. Engaging, get engaged. You know, you may not want to deal with hunger, deal with education, or mental health, or deal with someone in the programs, because we are community-based. We are gender power, and we are marginalized community focus.
Yes. And that's what I love about you, and I commend you for that, because a lot of people, it's easier to go with the less problematic community. And, you know, when you talk about marginalized children in particularly, or youth in particular, there are other challenges due to the marginalization of their environment or their lifestyle. And so understanding how to tackle those big things to actually infuse hope and direction on the bigger things is a challenge in itself. And I love that you mentioned your book, because that was the next thing I was going to talk about. And what I loved about the book was I felt like it was almost a prototype for our young moms out there. Because, you know, teenage pregnancy is still on the rise, and it's not stopping, especially within our community. Yet your book actually talks about, honestly and candidly, the struggles that you went through. Why did you feel that was so poignant?
I really feel strongly about that, because I think that, you know, it's the raw truth. When I had my first child, of course my mom was 12 when she had me. My dad was 16 going on 17. Two kids having a baby. And you know my trauma through that. But my own personal journey, I had my first child at 15. When I had my first child, I didn't even know what a birth certificate is. Isn't that? I have never seen my own. So, you know, growing up in a country, I have never even seen my own birth certificate. I didn't even know a child's supposed to have a birth. What is that? And can you imagine? This is a document that would follow this child. You are giving this child an identity to go through life, and you yourself are not aware of what that is. And those are just one of the little things about teenage pregnancy. They're not ready. We're not ready. You know, and society should take a bigger stance, because you can't drive till you're a certain age. You can't buy alcohol till you're a certain age. You can't do certain things till you're a certain age. Why are you allowed at 12 to have a baby?
That part. And also, on top of that, why, if you are a 12-year-old, there aren't certain programs that actually walks this child through from a she to a she-eo. Because I find like that's the biggest problem. These young girls, they get outcasted by their family because, you know, the family feels like it's an embarrassment or whatever drama they have, or they don't want to raise another child, yada, yada, yada. And this poor young baby that for one kind of careless decision now pays a price or has a job to do at such an early age, unprepared and unready.
That's why, you know, not to cut you, but society have to have a bigger impact in this.
Agreed.
Not only the parents. This is a social responsibility.
It's a village that needs to raise these children, and I say that all the time.
Yes.
Because sometimes it's the home structure that actually forces some of these decisions that changes the course of a child's life. You know, the other thing that I loved about you was strategy. You are a true strategist in that, like you said earlier, you do one thing, it leads to another thing. I wanted you to talk a little bit about how strategy has been implemented in your life, and what can someone do when they have a goal to understand what the strategy they need to do.
Well, my saving grace from then to now has been education. You know, it's amazing that today some of the degrees that I had, I would never use. I will never use. And I'm saying to myself, but you know what it was in my journey, every time I find myself in a position where uncertainty was taking over, I would enroll into some form of educational program. And so, like I said, I didn't really have a secure plan, but education was always my saving grace. I always wanted, it saved me. Focusing on trying to learn about something kept your mind and your whole initiative in one place, and it won't stray, because you know the mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Exactly. And direction is very important.
Yes.
You know, staying focused on what you need to do. And, you know, I talk about that at length, that focus and discipline are the two things that you really need. And education really teaches you that, because you've got to do the homework assignments, you've got to be in
Gotta do
class,
the
you've got to do the research, you've got to do the reading, etc., etc., etc. You know, and one of the things that I love to elaborate on, and to me you're a personification of it, is the 4 pillars of success. In that first you start with a vision, then you establish your mission, then you incorporate the direction that you need to take to accomplish that mission, and most importantly, you go into the collaboratives. And so, you know, one of the things that I wanted to ask is, how do you stay focused? Because you got 20 jobs.
Yes, you do. That you have to be consistent, whatever you do. You know, and I'm a Capricorn. I don't know what that says.
A lot.
But I am very focused and determined, and so, and structure and discipline is something that I live with 25 hours a day.
Notice she said 25.
Yeah, so that helps me a lot. And everything that I do, I take emotion out of my planning, out of my structure, out of the work, out of the projects. I take emotions out, and I try to be as practical as possible, because I'm gearing for success.
And that's wonderful. I'm loving that you said about the emotional aspect, because as women, we tend to lean towards that side of our brain. And in business, it's actually counterproductive, because not only are you dealing with your male counterparts that say, oh, she's emotional, and write you off,
Yes.
but also from a communication standpoint, you kind of cloud your vision and your communication capabilities by infusing words of emotion within your dialogue, and it becomes counterproductive. Can you elaborate a little bit on your strategy on how you remove emotion from your mindset?
It's really important for us as women, and not to single us out, to leave emotion out of our plan, our structure, and everything else. Because not only are we labeled by the opposite sex, and we are preyed upon because we are emotional creatures, but leaning on our emotions, we do not make practical decisions. So emotion, you must practice to leave emotion out of it, and base everything you do on a realistic, practical platform. And that has helped me, because whether it's my children, whether it's my grandchildren, whether it's a friend, whether it's a loved one, whoever it is, it's one program. You know what they say, America is so successful because America believes in black and white, which is pen and paper. Well, I believe that you must have one structure, and that structure must apply to everyone. There must be no exception to the rule.
Exactly. And that's a very important point as far as no exception to the rule, because when you become exception, like you make this the exception, it starts quantifying, well, how come he gets that and she gets that and I don't get that? And it just adds to confusion. I want to now shift it to your programs, because even then I was just like, oh my gosh, this woman, I know I'm busy, but I don't know how she keeps a smile on her face. You have 6 major programs attached to your organization and advocacy. You have UNESCO, the Institute of Fashion Education. You have MSM CARICOM, which is it's also the development training and website. And then you also have the Danny Glover Power of Dreams, which is the annual, and then you have the annual MCI CAP Inc. Christmas feed. And then you also have your pageant. And you also have a development program for women to get into entrepreneurialism. How do you balance all of that? And if you could elaborate on each one of those programs, why you felt it necessary to incorporate it within your whole business model.
Like I said, we are gender power. And if I told you that I'm a retired New York State correction officer, would you believe that?
No, I didn't see that in my research.
And that I also drove an armored car for 7 years, an armored trailer for 7 years.
Wow.
So I throw that in there just to say that I came from a fashion, you're beautiful. I was in beauty pageants when I was younger, so I was actually the first Miss Guyana USA winner. And so coming from all of that, I was exposed to women like myself who are beautiful, but every beautiful woman has a traumatic story behind her.
Ain't that the truth?
And so the things that I developed, the pageant, for example, it's a platform to encourage young women that are fairly attractive to come forward and to be nurtured and to be counseled because, you've heard stories of where beauty queens jump off a roof, commit suicide. We had a famous one here in New York a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking.
But it's the trauma that stands behind these young girls that no one knows. It's the secret stories they can't tell anyone. It's what they've been exposed to. And so I feel that in order to get the confidence of someone, you must be loving and nurturing. So the pageant is a platform for a free, easy communication, connection where we talk about beauty, but also it's a platform to nurture, a platform to counsel. And then from that, you have the other programs that we have. We have educational programs because once you have gained the confidence of these girls, you want to educate them so that they can stand on their own. They can have that kind of security that you need in the world, which is education. You must be armed with education. And then, of course, because we are a charitable organization, we have programs like the Christmas feed for the kids. And that is, I have, because of my background, because my mom was never allowed to be a child, I feel all children should be given a platform to experience what being a child is about. So that's the platform that we established so we can reach out to young children. We have seminars where we invite other organizations and other entities to participate so that our girls and boys can be exposed to different concepts, different level, different issues that they will face in the world. So the programs just builds on.
They just keep on coming. And that's a perfect segue to bring in our next guest of the show. I would like you to introduce him, but you're now expanding the pageant as far as bringing in collaborative and strategic people. And so, welcome, Mark, to Different Views, One Voice, and introduce him to us.
Well, our foundation is celebrating 21 years this year, started in 2004. And our baby is the international pageant. And so we're revamping the pageant after COVID and everything else. And this handsome young man here, Mr. CARICOM, as I'd like to refer to him, is a senior director now in charge of that specific department.
Mm-hmm.
So he has many hats that he wears. And our interest in him is because of his community involvement in young people. So under that umbrella, he has overqualifications for that position that he now has. So this is Mr. Mark Prey, and I want to welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mark, for coming out today. I met you at her event, and now to see and hear and converse with you on some of the successes that you've had over the years, I want to start with what prompted you to be an advocate?
Basically, my mom. My mother was the first black Virginia Slim model, along with all of the rest of my family.
Wait, stop for 1 second. What is that that's buzzing?
Something from the system. I don't know what it is. I hear it too.
And what is his level? Because it sounds
Is
really
that my
low.
phone? I
Yeah,
can turn
yeah.
off on my phone.
You can just talk a little
Can
closer.
you turn off her phone then?
On my phone?
It's on. It's off.
Oh,
Put
okay.
my back outside. If it's empty.
No. If it's turned off, it's turned off. But
It's
it
off.
sounds like
Yeah, I hear it too.
it sounds like a phone, and I just don't want to be able to.
It's off.
Get the
I
distraction.
Can
turned
you hear
all
me
of
now?
It's
mine.
off.
Yes.
Okay. Excuse me. Ready?
Yeah.
And once again, it was basically my family that more or less pushed me towards doing different things with the community, as well as a lot of my basketball coaches growing up. They pushed me towards doing a lot of different things. And now this is where I'm at, trying to help the community as best I can.
Now, as far as the mission, and the vision, because we talked about that 4 pillars of the vision, what do you see as far as this pageant is concerned? Because I think it's phenomenal that a man is assisting with a pageant. Because I love my brothers, and I feel like you guys add a different perspective to certain things that helps us stay focused and directional as far as what we accomplish. Because we as women, sometimes we love to add and add and add, and then the brothers are like, Stop.
No, because we need to change that, because we also like to add on certain things. Because me myself, I feel as though like, okay, fashion is a part of everyday life, and it touches everything, from the movies to the ball games, everything. When you walk out the door every day, whether or not you know it or not, there's actually people watching.
right. And my mom and dad always used to tell me that perception is everything when you're presenting yourself. First impressions last a lifetime. And so if you want to project your persona, that is personified in the clothing that you wear and the way you carry yourself and the way you talk and who you associate yourself with. So I agree with you emphatically that fashion is the first step.
Yes, I believe everybody has their own sense of style. Like myself, I dress according to how I feel that day.
And that's the best way to do it.
Yes.
Now, the people that are around you, when they see you maybe wearing a hoodie one day versus a suit the next day, what
They're
indications
just
do
like,
they?
wow, what happened? Like yourself. You saw me one time where I got on jeans and sneakers, and the next day I'm dressed like this. Business.
But I think that that's a strong message to our young men, that a man doesn't have to be monolithic in his designs, in his fashion.
No.
And the same for my girls, you know what I mean? Being conservative is an element of professionalism, but then, being provocative is also an expression of self. But time and place
For
is the
everything.
most important
Yes.
and additive to that sentence.
Well, you got to understand that I'm trying to break a lot of the kids out of with the sagging pants and all the rest of that, and the hoodies, because even wearing the hoodies nowadays, that's not always a good thing for us.
No.
You put that hoodie over your head, now you got the police watching.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'm glad that you said
It's
that.
a stereotype. Just like we have a whole lot of stereotypes with us that should not be now.
Exactly. Break the cycle. It's time.
Yes.
So now going back to the pageant and your event, March 21st, can you give us a little insight as to what people that attend will receive?
So the event, March 21st, is a yearly event. We're in our 21st year, and this is one of our UN events that we're having at the United Nations Plaza area. It's going to be at 42nd Street and 1st Avenue, right by the UN, not inside, but at the UN Plaza. It's this event is a yearly event. Commission on the Status of Women is usually from March 10th to March 21st. And that time period, there are thousands of NGOs that come down here when I say come down here, actually come to the U.S. where they participate in these programs. So our organization, which is accredited by the UN, is also one of those organizations that will be participating. And so we're having what is called a side event. Our side event is going to be a forum and an award. It's this year we are honoring women that broke the glass ceiling. So women that did, ordinary women that did extraordinary thing and made their mark in history. You know, so we're going to be presenting them with 3 awards, which is of course our flagship award, the Danny Glover Power-Dream Award, the United Nations NGO Miss MCIF Platinum Who's Who, and the Peace Award.
Wow.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And did I mention that we are going to feature you on our program?
yeah. Oh my God, thank you so much.
Yes, you're one of our honorees. So congratulations.
Thank you so
and
much.
being one of those women.
Thank you so much. It's an honor. Like, you know, when you had mentioned that to me, I had gotten chills this morning, and I was just like, wow, this is like so crazy, but I didn't know that you were mentioning it. But I want to go back to your mission, right? Because it's to empower people, especially women and girls, who are marginalized, to improve their well-being, influence development in their communities, and connect to networks for support by educating them to utilize their skills, knowledge, and resources to uplift their lives and others. And succinctly, it's like saying your network is directly connected to your net worth. Why is that so important to not only you, but also your mission of your business?
It is because partly of my own background, and because on this journey I find that it's essential to give women these tools. You know, I deal with the Caribbean and Africa, but there are women in other countries, European countries, that are also subjected to a lot of inequalities, a lot of abuse, a lot of stereotyping, who are struggling in 2025 to be equal in the workforce, to be equal on the playing field. And so it's not enough attention, even if 1,000 organizations get onto the same platform to support these topics and these issues. You know, there's so many issues to address.
Yes.
It's just too many. And so I personally want to go this route because I feel that, well, I have some other reasons why, but that's personal. You know, I have 1 daughter, 2 sons. Mm-hmm. And in 2001, my daughter had a nervous breakdown. You know, a college graduate and everything else, and I had to raise her 3 children, and up until today, I am dealing with that. So it's really a very long and painful journey for a woman.
Yes, agreed. You know, I want to switch a little bit to you, Mark, because one of the things that I found out about you is that community is paramount for you, and that you do a lot of outreach in the community. Why is that your mission, or how did that become your mission? Was it something that you said you was going to do, or did you see the need, or did you just start volunteering and then all of a sudden, boom, it
There's
became
always been a need for this, and we need help with our kids, plain and simple. You know, I see every day kids out here doing different things and out on the corners, and I'm interested in giving them a platform to do something else other than what they're doing now.
And the beauty of that is it's not just having something to do, it's also expressing creativity through the arts, singing, writing poetry, etc., etc., etc. It's like expression of self. Do you find that cultivating kids to understand who they are actually helps them heal the hurt that they have within?
Yes, because there's a lot of pain, a whole lot of pain.
How do you see that helping? How do you see that? Like, what do you see when you want to do
Basically,
that?
just like I said, just giving them a platform to showcase their talents. You know, my idea right now is we're not just putting on a Miss Caricon. We plan on putting on a Miss, what is it?
Mister.
No, not just the Mister. We're doing the kids. We want to do the teens. We want to do the Mister. And we're not leaving out the seniors. That's another program that I work with. I teach seniors boxing, modeling, Tai Chi.
And that's wonderful because statistically, the baby boomer generation, we're actually not your traditional senior. We're more active now than we've ever been in our life, and we have way more energy, and we're the second largest buying demographic in the United States.
Yes.
So we have income and we have veracity, so why not? And one of the things that I love about what you said is that the need for intergenerationalism, in that we've kind of lost that going to the senior to find out something that you didn't necessarily know. Siri and Google gives you all this information, but life experience is the best. And
Yes.
who has that better than somebody older?
I sit back and I listen.
Exactly.
And that's one of the things that our children do not do. They think that, well, we don't know anything. Plain and simple, we don't know anything until you actually get out in the real world and you find out, oh, well, maybe my parents were right. And I'm sorry, but I always have to bring this up. I still have another issue with it. First of all, I do believe, I was brought up to believe that women run the world.
Amen.
And y'all do.
Amen. I always say if you want to change the nature of society, it starts with the nurturers of the world, which is us,
Yes.
women. And a nation can only rise as high as its women, which is one of the reasons why I emphatically support women empowerment.
Yes.
Because that's where it starts.
No, well,
We birth
my
babies.
main issue is that most of the fathers that are not around, there's dads and then there's fathers. The real fathers are the one that stays around,
Exactly.
no matter what. Whether or not you with their mom or not, you should be there for your children.
And salute to those men that do that, because they're the example that it can be done.
Yes.
And
But it all
they're
comes
remarkable
back
people.
to you ladies. And I was instilled by my mom.
And there is a challenge sometimes when it comes to rearing children because of the relationship that might have gone left with the parents, and how do you cultivate that match? That's a very real challenge with a lot of women in today's society. And there has to be some more focus and programs on how to heal that hurt. Because a lot of women lash out because their ideal of that fantasy of having the man, the child, her, the long term has been shattered. And so now what's left? And
my parents
sometimes
separated when I was maybe about 5 years old. But my dad was always there.
because he's a committed
And
man.
my mom was, that's that lady right there. Very, very strong woman.
And it was wonderful that she allowed that relationship to happen.
Yes.
It's very hard.
Sometimes that's a little difficult.
Yes.
But this is the life that we live in.
Very true. I want to bring it back to you again, Dr. Sanchez. And I know you say Monica, but I want people to understand who you are. Because, again, you're so humble and you're so personable that the education side of it kind of gets swept a little bit underneath the rug. But I want to talk about the vision. You had said that a peaceful world where people and women are not abused, poor, untrained, or marginalized, where people are equal with full participation. And I thought that was just a beautiful vision. But do you see us or humanity leaning towards that now due to all of that we've been through between COVID and everything else? Do you see us now leaning towards that?
I wouldn't say we're leaning towards that, but I want to go back on Mark's participation and on the modeling and the poetry and all of these things that we do. I want to emphasize that as a society of color people, we are not exposed as we should be to the arts. The arts involve poetry, modeling, music, art, all of these things. And I think that these things help to build character. It helps to quell the pain. It helps to give us a voice. It helps to establish security in yourself. It's a foundation that we are not usually exposed to. Our children are not usually exposed to. And not to bring race into it, but I was parked outside, and I saw a father, white father, on a bicycle dropping off his child with a violin to a music lesson, and the child couldn't be more than 8 or 9 or something like that. But there's a lot of emphasis on the art, and the reason is because the art helps you to form your character.
Exactly.
It helps you to give you your footing on this. And so the fact that we are involved in these programs, and Mark is involved in these community outreach programs that's intergenerational, is very important. It's another form of the educational system that is missing.
I
for
agree.
us.
As an educational specialist, I
Yeah.
talk about that all the time. You know, our children are not, because of technology, even though it's fantastic, our children are not doing this self-expression type of thing, like cursive writing. Cursive writing, as an educator, is the first step that a child actually starts analyzing what represents him or her. And the removal of that, we're now at a pinnacle age, which is 8 and 9, where the child is really starting to put together their own decision of what their moral code is and what their identity is. It's damaging. And the same thing with music creation. Like I tell a story sometimes. My mom, they gave me a little piano when I was like 2, 3 years old, little organ, and as long as I was singing, I could say whatever. My mom's getting on my nerves, you know what I mean? But this is how she could understand where I was as a child and the interaction. And music and poetry and the arts, painting, all of that does that.
It does.
So the question to you, Mark, is what are some of the remarkable stories that you saw through your showcases, through cultivating art within the youth that you've been working with?
Oh, wow. That's a lot. The only thing that I can actually really think of right now is like they had me doing some couple of seminars with some of the gang members. Out of maybe 200 of them, I actually got one out. This one actually listened. He left New York and never came back.
Amen.
Most of them have.
Yes, we're gonna applaud you for that.
No, there's a stigma, because they feel as though this is my only family. My group or generation was during the crack epidemic, and most of the kids grew up with parents that were drug abusers, and this is all they ever got to see. And so they turned to the gangs. So there was nothing else for them.
Right.
I saw all of this one. So what we have now? All we can do is try to help as best we can.
Exactly. Be the difference that makes a difference. And the army of one matters. And the two of you are a pinnacle example of the army of one. Each of you are doing your own thing and then galvanizing others to participate and collaborate so that it becomes a force. And I commend the both of you on what you're doing. Is there anything that I have not covered in our conversation that you want to make sure that our audience knows about Dr. Monica Sanchez and Mr. Marco Weed?
Oh my goodness. I wanted to mention something. I was at Black History, last month was Black History, and I was at the African Theater right around the corner from here, not far. It's on, I think that's 111 and 5th Park or something. And they had poetry. They have some students interacting with different things, and a couple of the students wrote their own poetry. So, it's interesting that poetry matters, that you should still engage the children to be creative, not only with the TV and all that. I want to say, check out our book online, The Child of a Child, because all proceeds go to our programs. And check us out and join us. Come on, get on board. We welcome you. You know.
Well, you've got a volunteer over here, without a doubt. You are everything that you're doing is commendable, and it mirrors my heart. So I want to thank you so much. And what about you, Mark? What are some of the things that we have not mentioned so far?
Okay, we are doing auditions. March 16th, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Grace Adult Day Center. This is going to be the first auditions for the Miss Caricon pageant. Then we have two others
Yes.
that are going to be at the Scientology office August 5th and August 12th.
You know, I'm glad that you're talking about that, because a lot of girls and young men don't understand what it takes to do an audition, what it takes to be a model. So if you could, I would like for you to elaborate a little bit about that, because I've gone to auditions,
Okay.
and the girls are not wearing heels. You know, the guys, they're not ready. You know, they're looking down instead of looking up. Their shoulders are forward instead of thrown back, etc., etc. So if you could just give the audience a little tips on what they need to
When they actually walk
do.
inside the door, they're going to hear it, because I'm going to teach them.
I know, but
Properly.
elaborate.
Listen, I'm going to let them know as soon as they walk inside the door, this is what you need to actually succeed. Yes, you have to walk in the door. Everybody has to come in wearing all black. Ladies have to be in heels. The guys, if I see you walking around with your pants sagging, I'm kicking you out the door. Go stand outside until you're ready to walk back in as a gentleman. You know, we plan on teaching our kids a proper way.
Exactly.
Because the way that you live right now, that's not it.
Exactly, and it's not to take away, because you know sometimes I speak with the youth and they're like, "Oh, you want me to conform to what it's?" I said, "No.
No, we're not trying to make you conform.
It's what it is understanding that you can't do the same thing expecting different results. It's not going to work. That's the first step to insanity. So try different things, and in those experiences, you actually expand your own persona. Because I love to tell children, and even adults, get comfortable, because my mentor told me that, Shelley Zealous, shout out to Shelley, but get comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where growth begins.
Yes.
And so with the modeling aspect and the casting, because I want them to be ready, right? You said wear all black, girls wear your hair. I always tell the girls, if you really want to be modeling, pull your hair back, so that I can see your face and your features, so I know what to add and what to subtract, because it's casting. Is that
Well,
correct?
Yes, that is correct. But we take in all shapes, sizes, colors.
Mm-hmm.
We do everybody, all ages.
Mm-hmm.
I want to jump in.
Mhm.
You know, having a casting call is encouraging someone who might want to be a model or want to be a contestant in a pageant to come forward. So we don't want you to feel that you don't, I'm not qualified. Come forward. And what we're looking for is to see if you have a desire to compete or be a part of this, and we will train you. That's what the casting call is about, is to see how much or how far you can go, and to know how much or how far we need to nurture and train you. So we will train you, but you first has to come forward. So the casting call is to get you there. But we are saying, when you come, put your best side forward. Do what is required of you. Wear all black so that you can have a better look at your personal to see, and wear heels, because in walking the platform, whether it's being a model or being a contestant, you have to wear heels. The heels help you to project yourself a certain way on the runway. So we will train you, but you have to come in with this expectation. So we're saying, come presentable. So we can actually say, okay, this person looks possible, they can work and do this, but we will train you. That's the whole idea of it. So
So
you
in
will get
essence-
what you need when you come.
We
And in
also-
essence, it's an opportunity.
Yes,
Yes,
it's an opportunity.
we also give opportunities to people with autism. I want them to show up as well.
Excellent. Excellent.
You know,
Yes, I want to give the young girls and young men a tip out there. If you're not sure about posture, take a couple of books, put it up on top of your head, and
Old
walk.
school.
Yeah, that is old school.
That is old school, but it's
Yes.
the best school because you start realizing how you're standing. Because if you're standing forward, the book's going to fall. If you're leaning back too far, like got your chest too far out, the books are going to fall that way. But if you stand square-footed, square-shouldered, you actually have the correct posture and your spine is straight.
My main thing is personality. Bring your personality to this show.
Excellent.
I want to add that, you know, fashion and modeling and beauty, you mentioned posturing, so I want to piggyback on that to say that posturing has a lot to do with your health. So this is also a platform to teach you how to get to a healthier place with your life, because posturing has to do with your spine, and your spine has to do with your general health. So, so it's a good thing to come, and it not only helps you to have a better outlook on your personal appearance, but your mental, physical, and healthy appearance.
Exactly. And you know, there are certain tips. Like I remember when I was modeling, the lime juice and hot water first thing in the morning when I woke up helps keep your body fit. You know what I mean? And it fills you so that you're not necessarily eating all day long. And fruits, like, you know, it's one thing to drink water, but it's also another thing to have what they call H3O foods, which is watermelon, pineapple, these type of things that actually has nutrients within the juices of the fruit that keeps you and makes your body more healthy. So that's the life of a bottle. Whether you're a thick girl or a thin girl, a healthy girl shows because your skin radiates. And that's another thing, you know what I mean? It's like that own personal expression of self that comes in. I mean, Naomi Campbell is a perfect example, or Tyra, perfect example of taking their personality and putting it in a walk. So don't prohibit yourself from understanding who you are and then put that in your walk. But don't take it over the top. Because sometimes it can be a little bit too much, and then the focus is not on the clothes. I remember when I was modeling, one of the mentors, Dee Simmons, Grace Del Marco, turned around and said, never forget that you're a hanger.
Yes. They're looking at the clothes, not at you.
Exactly. Never forget that you're a hanger. And even though, you know, there's different types of hangers that actually makes the clothes hang correctly, that's what you are. So that's another bit of advice, because I love giving seeds to,
Yes.
you know, to help others grow, not just necessarily generalities, but actual tangible things that they can hold on to. So, anything else that I'm missing as far as how others can actually help the agenda of what you're doing? What are you looking for as far as volunteers? Like, what's the criteria for that?
Can I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
Everybody.
Yeah, but what's the criteria though? It's not, because not everybody's gonna, that's not realistic. Some people won't fit. So what is the criteria?
Well, you know, we are a foundation. We are accredited. We always recruiting young people because being at the United Nations is not exposed enough into the local communities. So we want to invite you to come along and join us so we can introduce you to the United Nations. We can expose you. Some of the youths coming out of high school, going into college, there are opportunities at the UN that they're not aware of. So we have programs like Ambassador for a Day, and that program takes you into the UN. It gives you a tour of the UN. You get to talk to an ambassador at the UN. You get materials about the UN. So a lot of the times, our community are left out of that arena. When you go to the UN, you see people coming from Germany and France and other places, you know. So that's our gender. We focus a lot on the younger generation because we want to give them a chance to grow. But our organization, have seniors and very young ages, starting from 3, involved in what we do. But our whole perspective in this journey is to empower and promote people and showcase them along with what we're doing, so that people can be exposed to say, hey, wow, I didn't know she did that, or what we did.
Now, where can anybody find more information about you? Because it's time to go. I mean, the
Yes.
hour went by so fast,
Quickly.
and there was a wealth of information. I thank the both of you for coming out today.
Thank you so much. We are Miss Caricom International Foundation. Our website is misscaricom.org. That's MISSCARICOM.org. And also we have MissCaricomFoundation.com. A number to reach us at is 646-606-6210. And look us up on the web. Just put in Miss Caricom and any of social media and you will find us. We will pop right up and we welcome you. Come on and join us.
Absolutely. And for those, it's CARICOM. There it is. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for being the voice of the voiceless and also being the difference that makes a difference. I salute the both of you.
Thank you for having us.
And that's our show, y'all. And succinctly, it's always understanding that closed mouths don't get fed. So open up your mouth because you have a voice too and be heard. I'm your host, Amelia's Moore, for another episode of Different Views, One Voice.